Mr. Arun Kumar to all of you. So, on the behalf of ITTM family, I welcome you, sir. And now I'll hand over the session to you.
Thank you so much. I thank everyone, entire ITTM family, including you, for giving me the opportunity to talk about this topic in front of ITTM students. Myself is Arun Kumar. I'm working with IZ Dream Vacation Private Limited. I'm handling inbound tours. I have worked with Kyoni Travels, Tamarind Global, International Travel House. I'm working in this industry from last 14 years. So from the beginning till now, I'm handling inbound tours. So everybody knows what the inbound tours is. So my topic is role of operation job in inbound tours. So I'm going to tell you what is the role of operation in inbound tours. First, I will go through the introduction part and the why India is famous, and then we'll see a video, and then the other slides are also there. So we'll touch each and every step of the inbound tours, and then we'll go to the operational part. Okay. So first of all, we go for the introduction part. Everybody knows India has been a very prominent destination in terms of tourism. Especially during the ancient time, the people from all over the world used to come for the educational tour. The people like Wen Sang and Fa Yang, the Chinese traveler, they used to come to India for the study purpose. So the India is very famous as far as the tourism is concerned. Tourism in India has significant potential considering the rich cultural and historical heritage, variety in ecology, terrains, and the places of natural beauty spread across the country. Tourism is also a potential large employment generator and significant source of the foreign exchange for the country. Tourism is a good source of foreign exchange. We generate a lot of foreign exchange for our country, and it is approximately around 10% of the GDP. So we are the third largest tourism generator country among 185 countries in the world, according to the World Tourism and Travel Council data. Now we'll go to the next slide. Why only India? Why not other country? Why? Because there are many countries in the world where people can plan travel. There are many factors which force the traveler to come to India. There are many reasons which attracts tourists to come to India. That is oldest civilization. We are one of the oldest civilization in the world. India is known for the oldest civilization in the world. There are many things we can show it to our tourists. The other thing is our culture is very rich. Every state we have a different culture. Everywhere we go, we have a different languages. We have a different foods. So these kind of factors attracts tourists a lot. The tourists come to see our culture, foods, cuisines, and the languages, our living styles, our villages, and many things. We have so much of the forts and palaces. Like Rajasthan is full of forts and palaces. The people come from the world to see the forts and palaces. Uh, India is also called the country of Maharajas. So where we see a lot of forts and palaces are becoming the attraction for the tourism. Now it comes to Ayurveda. India is famous for the Ayurveda as well. Many tourists from Middle East, they come for the Ayurveda. Especially they go to Kerala, they go to Ananda in the Himalayas. Okay, so it is very famous. Ayurveda is very famous in India. Now we go to the beaches. We are very famous for the beach tourism also. In India there are many beaches which are famous for the tourism. Beach quality is best in all over the world. Like if we talk about the Kovalam, which is in Kerala, this is the best quality beach in the world. So the many people come to see the beach. Those who has not the beach, so they come to see the beach tourism. Okay, and we have a lot of hill stations like Shimla, Manali, Dharamshala, Nainital, Kullu, and Darjeeling, Gangtok. There are many hill stations for them the people come to see. We are also known for our fairs and festival because India is a country of diverse culture. Everywhere we go, we see a different cultures, different fairs, different festivals. So everywhere something is happening. So the people come to join to see the fairs and festival as well. Now it comes to the wildlife. We have many sources of the wildlife as well. We have Ranthambore National Park, we have Jim Corbett National Park, we have Bandhavgarh National Park, we have Kanha National Park. So these are the main national parks actually for the foreign tourism. The foreign tourists, they come to enjoy the wildlife and they go and see these kind of park. We are very rich in the history also. The Britishers and the other people, they are very interested in our history because we Britishers has ruled to our country for more than 200 years. So they few tourists also interested to see our history, to know about our history as well. Then it comes to the cuisine. Cuisine everywhere we are famous. Like in South India, we find the South Indian cuisines like idli, dosa, sambar vada, and many other famous foods. In North India, the chole bhature, rajma chawal, curry chawal, it is very famous. People like samosas. So we are also famous for the our cuisines. Now we are going to see a video which is an overview of the tourism.
Sir, please switch to the presentation.
So this was a video regarding the destination of India and what the experience we provide to our tourists. Now we'll move forward towards the foreign exchange earning and arrivals. As you already know that the tourism is a good source of the foreign exchange, and everywhere the foreign exchange data is increasing. So in 2013, the foreign exchange data was 18.5 billion USD. In 2014, it came to 19.7 USD billion, and in 2015, it reaches to 21 USD billion. 2016 to 22.9, 2017 27.3, and 2018 28.9. So it is keep on increasing every year. You can also see the tourist arrival in India. It is increasing, same like the foreign exchange earning. It is increasing every year. In 2013, it was 16.97, 2014, 7.68, 2015, 8.03, 2016, 8.8, 2017, 10.04. Now we'll move to the business model, how we do the business in inbound tourism actually. How is the business model that we work on, how we get the business from the market, from the travel agency, from the direct client. So there are basically two models. One is B2B. B2B stands for business to business. Means if some travel agent is sitting in USA or UK and he's sending a query to us, and if we materialize that query, it becomes a business, and that is B2B. Means it agent to agent business is called a B2B business. So it's a huge source of business. There are many agencies in India which are B2B, and there are many agencies in India which are B2C as well. What is B2C? B2C stands for business to clients. It may be a direct client, it may be your reference client, it may be your online portal client also, because many company they do online query generation as well. They have a particular IT team which they generate online queries. So we get the queries either from online or through agent. So there are two models, we work on that. We get the business from these two models in the travel agency. And every company, many company, they have both the model, both the model, and many company has one model like B2B. Big companies, they are now trying to come on both the models, because they are trying to gain the business as much as possible, because the competition is increasing day by day. So they are going to both the models. Now we'll come to the departments. What are the department works in a travel company, especially in terms of inbound tourism? So we talk about the operation part that we handle, and there are many things to learn about the operation department that I'm going to tell you in the next slide. So operation department plays a very major role in travel agency. Then the ticketing department. In most of the queries, there's a requirement for the air ticket and the train ticket. So we have to get the ticket issued. So we get in touch with the ticketing department and we get the ticket issued done. So the ticketing department also plays a very key role. Then we go to the contracting. Contracting is a team who negotiate with the hotels for the rates. Every big companies, they have a contracting department as well. Here I would like to tell you, every company has a different structure according to their company size and the volume of the business. It's not necessary that every company has these kind of departments. Smaller company, they have very small departments and they play a multitasking role. Like they might not have the contracting department, they might not have the transport department, they might not have the ticketing department, they do it from the outsourced vendors. So the contracting team what is their role is they negotiate the rate with the hotels. The big companies, they have many businesses, like they have a series business. Uh, we call it as a fixed departure also. They have a 5T business, they have a group business, they have a market segregated business, like they have a French market, they have Spanish market, they have German market, they have US market, they have Australia market. So every particular market, they negotiate the rate with the hotel, and only those rates will apply for that particular market. The query coming from those market and confirming, the only those rate will apply for those markets. So the contracting team works on the hotel rates actually. They negotiate the rate, they put it, they feed every rates in the software, and when we do costing, we pick up the rates from that particular software for that particular market only. Now we talk about the transport. Transport is a very major part which plays a very key role in success of our tour, because whenever the client is moving, transport is a very utmost important part. Okay, so it's not necessary that every company has a transport department, but the larger company, they always have a transport department, airport representative departments and all. The smaller company, they hire the transport from the outside vendors, from the transporters, because of the business volume is not that much, they cannot keep the transport. So the transport also needs duties to move on every time, to earn something. So the smaller company, they cannot keep the transport department, they hire the vehicles from the outside vendors. Then it comes to the accounts department. For handling the files, for us, the accounts department is very much necessary and important, because after processing the reservation, it comes to the payment part. So from where we process the payment, through the accounts department. We make the requisition request, and we forward it to the accounts department, and then the account department process the payment here for the client's booking. Now we will talk about the inbound operation function, how the operation function, that is the topic of today's speaks. So how the inbound department works, how the operation works, now I'm going to tell you about it. First of all, the first procedure is receiving queries. Receiving query either from B2B or B2C or reference client, or the query from the someone calls to the agency through phone, that is also a query. So first of all, we receive the query, and then we start working on it. So what we work on the query is, according to the requirement of the client or the customer, we prepare the itinerary, we prepare the costing, pricing and all. So and then we after once the itinerary and costing are prepared, we design it in proposal, and then we email it to that particular agent from where we get the query, or from that particular client. And then we are on the follow-up. Like if someone sitting in US, our agent is sending the query, we are preparing on the itinerary, we are doing costing, we are making the proposal, and we are sending it to that particular agent. We are in touch with him for that particular query. What is happening? Did you speak with your client? What is going on? Is he interested? Or is he feeling like the price is high? What is going on? So you are always in touch with him for the confirmation part, for the materialization of that query, because you need the business, you need to confirm that query. So you keep on checking with your clients or your agents for that particular query. So once the query gets confirmed, they send the confirmation along with the flight details, arrival details, passport, and dates of travel. These are the basic information you need to process the reservation. Then we go to the invoice generation and payment request. Invoice generation is like you are sending an invoice for the payment request. Once the payment comes, and then you start working on the file. Once the payment comes into the company account, you open the file, you gather all the printouts of the itinerary, cost sheet, and the correspondence. You enclose all the printouts in one file, and you write all the information on the file that I'm going to show how the file opening process is. So you open the file, and then you start the reservation execution. How we execute the reservation: we write the email to every hotels, to transport, our local suppliers for the reservation. uh, we also book the guide, because guide is something that we have to book it on our own. There is no particular agency on that. So most of the guide are a freelancer, so we have to call them, or sometimes we have to email them. For that particular day, you are doing a particular sightseeing, half day, full day, like Delhi. If you are talking with a guide, you need to inform them there are 2 packs or there are 4 packs, and you have to do the assignment on that particular day for full day or half day. What are the itinerary covers? What are the paid monuments are there in the itinerary? You have to inform your guide so that he knows everything. You have to share the itinerary with the guide. You also have to hand over him the monument entrance fees if the entrance fees is included in the cost in the package. So you have to process everything in advance. Then you have to do the ticketing. If someone is traveling from here to Agra by train, you have to do the train ticket also. Or if someone is traveling from here to Varanasi by flight, you have to get the ticket issued. If a group or a FIT and any individual is going for outside meals, you have to book that meals well in advance. Now it comes to process of advance payment. Because till this time we have processed the reservation, now it comes to advance payment. Because the moment we process the reservation, the hotel comes back with the confirmation details and they ask for the advance payment if they are not on the credit list. Credit list is something that most of the big companies, they have a credit list with the hotels. They are under the credit list. They don't need to process the advance payment. They have already paid a certain amount of money to that particular hotel, and it keeps on adjusting in the booking. So they don't need to process the advance payment in every now and then. Those companies who are not in the credit list of the hotel, they have to process all the payment in advance. And there's a particular cut-off date also. Some hotel ask for the payment 45 days prior to the arrival, or some hotel ask for the payment 30 days prior to the arrival date. So we have to process the payment. We have to get this thing done well in advance. We have to get the confirmation from the hotel. And then it comes to documentation kit preparation. Because after this process, we go for the document preparation. When the tourist arrives, when the client arrives, we have to hand over the certain documents to the client so that there is a proof for him when he is going to check in the hotel. There is a proof of the hotel voucher that he has booked a particular room. So what it includes, what document it includes is, it includes the hotel voucher. When the client is moving into the hotel, he will tell his name, his passport details. He will hand over that particular voucher to the check-in desk so that he get the room. So hotel voucher, itinerary copy, contact details of the local agents, hotel details, hotel address, hotel contact number, if in case the driver is unable to trace the hotel. Because sometimes if there is a new hotel and driver is not aware of that hotel, you have to write down the address and the contact details of that particular hotel, and you have to hand over that copy to driver as well, so that he knows, and there should not be any inconvenience while traveling. So you have to be very careful while handling the tours. as far as the services is concerned, you have to be very careful, especially in terms of the inbound tourism. Because what we are selling our services. We are not selling anything. We are selling our products. We are selling our services only. So hotel vouchers, itinerary copy, air tickets, train tickets, all these things we have to hand over upon arrival. Now it comes to the arrival and welcome assistance. When there is a arrival transfer of that particular client from the company side, the arrival representative, their airport representative goes to the airport. He meets and greets the client at the airport. He welcomes him and he escorts the client to the hotel. He assists them for the check-in as well. He hand over all the documents. He brief all the documents. He also brief about the sightseeing, next day sightseeing or same day sightseeing timing. He also briefs a little bit of the do's and don'ts, like uh, he does. I mean, the client have to be very careful about the safety factor as well. He does not have to go outside of the hotel after 9 or 9:30 because it might not be safe sometimes. So these are the basic do's and don'ts you have to brief to your client, and they also ask sometimes. So it is your duty to brief them. Now it comes to the when the client goes from one particular uh, place to another place, you have to be in touch with him. Not only with the client, you have to be in touch with your driver as well. You have to be in touch with your tourist guide as well. You have to be in touch with your local agents as well, so that you should ensure that everything is going well as per the plan, as per the itinerary, and your client is happy. There is no complaint from the client side. So just to ensure that everything is happening in order, you have to be in touch with your client, your driver, your suppliers, your guide. When the tour is end, you have to collect the feedback. That is the most important part, because because your duty is now over. It is time to collect your feedback. I mean the client feedback. So there's a particular feedback form. We hand over the feedback form in the document kit, and when before the departure, the client fill up that particular form and they hand over it to the that airport representative while on departure assistance. On the day of departure, we assign the car, we assign the airport representative, so that someone goes from the office and he assists them for the check-in at airport as well. Because the client is not a regular traveler. Uh, he might not be knowing many things, so he always need an assistance, guidance from your side. So you have to take care of your clients. So here the operation department works finishes. Duty gets over here. Now I'm going to tell you what is the operation file and how it looks like. This is basically a copy of file. I have pasted it over. What are the basic information we need to write down on the file, so that if we are not in the office and if someone picks up the file in our absence, he should know where the client is going, what are the services he is booked for, what are the hotel details. So every information should be mentioned on the file. You have to write down every information on the file. First of all, you have to write down the name of the client, and then you have to write down how many packs, how many passengers the client is. If there's a group, you have to write down the particular count. Then from where the booking is there any particular agent is involved, or is he a direct client? So you have to write down the information. Then how many rooms that particular group or that particular client requires. I have mentioned over here 5 double room, because it's a group of 11 people. 5 double and 1 single. So then you have to write down the arrival date, flight details, arrival time, and then departure date, departure flight details, departure flight time. You see here, there's a specific lady guide also, because sometimes you receive the specific request for the guide, for the vehicle, for particular activity, so you have to process that request as per the client request. So we have booked a lady guide because they are a lady group. They are a group of 11 ladies. So we have booked a lady guide for them. They have requested for the lady guide. Now you have to write down all the hotel details. In Delhi, what is the hotel name? That is the Oberoi Delhi. What is the check-in and check-out date you have to mention? 7th to 9th of April. What is the status? Is it confirmed or wet list? You have to mention everything on the file so that you also know what is the status of your booking. Then you have to write down the another place, another hotels, check-in, check-out dates. You also have to write down the flight details, flight itinerary. If someone is traveling from here to another place and if there is a flight ticket involved, you have to write down all the details of the flight. On 9th of April, the client is traveling from Delhi to Jaipur by Air India flight 491 that departs from here at 12 o'clock and that reaches in Jaipur at 12:55 hours. So you have to write down all the details on your file, and this is basically the information that always you can carry. You can carry in your mobile also. You get a picture of your file and you carry in your mobile also, because when you are not in the office, you are at home and you don't know what are the information of that particular client, so that you can see that picture and you should know where the client is traveling, and you can talk accordingly with your client. We were talking about the hotel voucher. Hotel voucher is a very important part, because if the agency is under credit list, that in that case also the agency has to issue the hotel voucher, because you have to hand over the hotel voucher. The client needs the proof. So you have to write down all the details. Every company has a different format of the voucher or any documents. Most of the large company, they use the software. They work on the software. They create everything, every document on the software. They also issue the hotel voucher on the software. So I'll tell you what are the basic information required for the hotel voucher, like hotel name, place, details of the hotel, where exactly it is situated, the contact details, contact number of the hotel, and then you have to write down the client name, how many packs they are, what are the check-in and what are the check-out dates, by which mode of the transport they are coming, whether they are coming by flight or they are driving from somewhere. Like if someone is driving from Agra, hotel doesn't know what time the client will arrive, what time the room should be ready, what time the check-in should be ready. So if you update all the information to the hotel, the room will be ready accordingly and you will not face any inconvenience. The client should not wait in the lobby. So you write down all the details when you are making the voucher, when you are preparing the voucher. You have to write down the flight details. You have to write down the client is driving from Agra and expected time of arrival will be so and so. So that portal has the update about it. You have to write down the particular room category. Every hotel has a different room categories. So it depends what category the client is booked for. You have to mention that particular room category. So in that particular category, in that particular booking, what it includes, because hotel is also booked on a different plan. It depends what is the client requirement, whether he is required to book only on the breakfast basis. You have to book on a CPAI plan, that is called Continental Plan All Inclusive. That includes the bed and breakfast and taxes. So it depends what is your client requirement. You have to book, process the booking accordingly. So you have to mention that particular room category so that you get the same room. Sometimes if the hotel occupancy is low, it depends upon your PR also. It depends upon your hotel negotiation also. You upgrade the room to that particular client. You have to write down all the details. On 12th of April, you have a room only. On 13th, you will get the breakfast. Because you don't know what time the client arrives. So the breakfast is always on the next day. Now we'll go for the feedback form. What are the information you need to collect? What are the feedback you need to collect for that particular service, because you should know what are the services and how is the services of that particular vendor. How would you come to know unless you collect the feedback from the client? So you have to collect the feedback regarding the local guide, if there is a local guide, or if there is a particular accompanying guide, then you have to collect the feedback for the accompanying guide also. How is the transport? There are three category. Two, three points in terms of the transport, like cleanliness of the car. Is the car clean or the car was not in a clean mode? So how was the air condition working? How was the car comfort? So all these things you have to talk about the transport things. Now we also talk about the driver. How was the driver behavior? Whether he was polite, whether he was careful, whether he was on time, he was driving uh, properly. So all this information, sometimes you don't need to ask your client, tell you many things, but you have to get everything on the writing. You have to ask about the tour impression also, tour timing, location. You also have to get the feedback about the hotel. How was the hotel? How was the location? How was the room? And how was the hotel service? So these are the basic works of the operation department that we have discussed. Thank you so much for hearing me. I hope it was good enough to understand what the operation role is. Thank you very much. And now it's a interaction session. It's a question session. You can ask if you have any question, if you need any clarification.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a great session. So now I would like all the participants, if they have any question, to mention in the chat box. Madhusmita is asking for your email ID, sir.
My email ID is arun.mk. Do I need to write over here?
Yes, sir, you can see the chat box on the top. You can open that.
Abhishek is asking about once again about business model with another example. Okay, Abhishek, we have discussed about two models. One is B2B and another one is B2C. B2B stands for business to business. It is not with the direct client. It is with the agency only, with the agents only. Like if in terms of the domestic, if we talk about if agent in Delhi or if agent is Mumbai, Mumbai agent is forwarding any query to Delhi agent. It's a kind of business for him. So B2B is like that. And if I call to an agent, suppose I have to travel to Shimla or Manali, I'm contacting an agent, travel agent, then it will be a B2C model. I hope it is clear. Any questions?
Yes, sir. There's another question from Ayush. He asked that how he can make a contact with overseas travel agent if he wants to sell his product.
See, it's a very technical question. In the beginning of your career, you will not be able to get that opportunity because the sales call generally is done by either the management or done by the very senior employee, by the vice president of the company, by the GM. So when you become a very senior person in the company, then you get the chance to visit abroad for the business purpose. You do a sales calling. You get a particular list of that particular agent, whether he's working with your company or not. So you have to go for sales call to a different countries. So you get the business from there only.
Sir Rishi Raj asked that we all have many platforms to make our own itinerary. So why we need agency or agent for that?
Rishi, as far as I understand, you are talking about managing the tour on your own. Many people are doing that because today everything has become online. The hotel rate, the transport rate, everything has become online. But why you need a travel agent? Because agent is someone who knows everything about the hotel, about the location, about the transport. And when you stuck somewhere, there is nobody to guide. Their travel agent role starts. He can guide you very well what you have to action, what you have to do in that particular scenario. So that is the reason you require a travel agent when you are planning a trip. He can guide you in a better manner.
So Mr. Manku has a question that how to become a good manager in a tourism agency in international affairs.
Uh, See, to become a good manager, you have to be a good worker. You have to have a good product knowledge. You have to be very positive what you are doing. You have to like your work. You have to love your work. You have to love your job. Then only you will be able to perform very well.
And Madhu Smita is asking again, by considering the post-COVID scenario, what certification courses can students do now?
Uh, there is no certification need to enter to a particular travel agency to start your work. Once your post graduation in tourism is over, you can come to the travel agency and you can start your work. There is no particular certification need, because what you study in the college and what you work in a travel company is entirely different, because the bookish knowledge is different, practical knowledge is entirely different.
Okay, sir. Then again, Mr. Manku is asking that as India is a rich source of income generator in terms of tourism, then why government is not spending a huge amount for the development of tourism industry?
See, we cannot say that government is not investing a huge amount on the tourism industry. Government is also working, but it will take some time actually, because you also need to understand India has a very big population. The population is a very challenge for any growth, any sector growth. So India is working in many sectors to make the tourism easy, to promote the destination, to promote tourism, and to earn as much as for exchange. Like now, earlier visa rules was very difficult. There was no e-visa. We have started e-visa for many countries. So the people sitting outside of India, and if they want to come India, they want to see India, they can get the visa at their home only. They just have to fill the form, and they just have to put particular personal details. On the basis of that, they get the visa. So day by day, it is coming easier. It will take some time. Government is focusing on that because the government also knows he is earning a lot of foreign exchange from the tourism. So it will take some time. Be positive about it. Everything will be fine.
Sir, the next question is, as we have bachelor's program also in our college, so Pritika is asking that what are the job prospects available in the industry after graduation?
Uh, Ritika, is not necessary that whether you are tourism graduate or tourism postgraduate. Sometimes it depends upon the industry requirement, but it's not necessary. If you are a graduate, then also you are most welcome to come to the tourism industry. I would not say it's not necessary for go for post graduation, because you need to gain as much as knowledge is possible. So if you do a post graduation, it is well and fine. Otherwise, if you are not a postgraduate, you can come to the industry and you can start your work.
So Madhusmita is asking that what are the digital skills that are required in the current scenario?
Digital skill for tourism is obviously required, especially in terms of the uh, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. That means you have to well versed with your system, your computer. That is only thing. Otherwise, there is no particular requirement of the technology in tourism, because every company, whenever you change the company, there is a new software. So the basic digital information you need to have, basic digital knowledge you have to have.
So the next question is how travel company break their profit on ticket as the price is same for the agent as well as the client.
This is very technical question actually. Since you are a tourism student, otherwise we don't talk these things in front of the public. It's a very confidential. Sometimes you see a fare that you get from a travel agent or the fare you see on a portal, airline portal, or any ticketing air ticket company portal, it's same. So for us also, it is very challenging how to sell, because you are getting the same fare on the airline portal also. So why the client will come to us? Why they book the ticket with us? They can go directly with the airline and they book the ticket with us. But in that case also, if we keep the same fare, we get some commission. With every airline, we have a deals. So we get the deals for that particular fare. If we see the fare breakup, there is a base fare. On the base fare, we get some commission, we get some deals. So if we don't keep any markup, then only we are earning out of it.
Okay, sir. Are there any more questions?
Question is over.
Yes, sir. No more questions as of now.
There is one more question. Ravi, please check. So there is a question from Abhishek.
Yes, one more question is there from Abhishek. He is asking that if a travel agent from Europe is sending their clients to India through a DMC in India, what
Okay.
type of model they are using? Is it B2B?
It is B2B. It is obviously B2B, because he is also an agent. He's sending a client to that agent in India. So it's a B2B. Any more question?
Yes, sir. There's one more question from Kulsum. What would be the underlying reasons for the hotels to offer better rates to OTAs like Make My Trip, Agoda, etc.? How do we tackle such situations without losing the client?
See, it is very challenging situation for the travel industry, because there are many giant players in the industry who has a better rates than you, and sometimes you are able to lose business because of the rate factor. In that case, it depends how much business you are generating and how much business your competitors are generating. You have, if, because you have to smart here, act very smartly here. If there is only a requirement of hotel, then you are helpless, you can't do anything. The traveler will definitely go for the cheaper rate. If it is a package, then nobody can come to know that what is the rate of the hotel, because it includes many things in package. But if there is only a requirement of hotel, you have to negotiate with the hotel and try to get the rate as low as possible to get that business, to confirm that business. So it's a case to case basis. Sometimes we also face that situation. In that case, we negotiate the rate with the hotel and we try to offer them the cheaper rate.
So the next question is, during the lockdown phase, most travelers most travelers have travel have been banned. So will the agencies will be liable to pay their customers, or government will add their tax revenues on the following expenditures?
So we, as per the government announcement, we are self-dependent. We have to do everything on our own. Obviously, the government has given the opportunity to get the loan and to pay the salary of the employee, to support the employee. But in this scenario, also we have to be positive. We have to support each other to come out from this circumstances. Uh, it will take some time. It will take few months to start the work, but definitely the days will be normal like earlier. We have to be positive.
So the next question is, do you think that Make My Trip and other companies are reducing the business of online tourism agencies? If yes,
Exactly.
if yes, then what can be the plans to uplift these offline agencies?
See, at this scenario, everybody is standing at the same level, at the same platform. So we cannot say Make My Trip is losing, Yatra is losing, or Kyoni is losing. Everybody has no business. So everybody has to wait to get the situation normal. Once the situation is normal, everybody will start getting the business.
Sir Ayush is asking that after the lockdown is over, how can companies can promote their tourism in India?
See, again, it's a very challenging situation once the market opens, because everybody will try to get the business from the market, everybody will try to get the client from the market. So the only attraction is to decrease the rate, attract the customer on the basis of the rates and on the basis of your new products, new offers, new inclusions. Okay. So you have to design your product in such a way that the customer can attract from it. Just a second, my laptop battery is getting low. I'll have to insert the charger.
Do we have any other questions?
Please continue.
So the next question is, do you believe that international tour is more beneficial or domestic tour will fetch the same amount of money?
You're talking about the corona situation or normal situation?
According to me, sir, it's a corona situation.
Yeah, during when the corona effect is there, everybody will try to travel within the particular country only. Nobody will go out of his country. So it is also safe and it is not advisable, because there are some technical factors also. When you go outside and if you get affected with the corona or if any other diseases like corona, your insurance sometimes doesn't work. So you will be in great trouble. We also do not suggest our client to go abroad in such situations.
And in normal situation,
Normal situation, everybody can travel wherever they want to travel.
Any more questions? So no questions as of now, sir. Everybody is saying thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a very nice experience. It was nice talking with all of you. I hope you have a lot of information from my side. Thanks so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.